Do you remember the Lion King premiere when Harry was desperately trying to land a job for Meghan with Disney's CEO? Well, I am sure you missed what really was going on with his body language at that moment, but I am about to fix that. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and it would be great if you join us by just liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that bell. Let's get down to it. I have analyzed this kind of royal appearances before, and you might remember my videos of Catherine and Diana attending James Bond movie premieres. And you might remember from those videos that the royals meeting the cast of the movies is a rather fluid process. They exchange a few words with the actors, directors, the producers, but they don't take that much time. But this was that special occasion when Harry went to hustle a job for his wife at the Lion King premiere. He wanted to talk to this man, Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, just to tell him that Meghan could do voice acting. And this was the same day of the Royal Marines Memorial to honor victims of the 1989 attack. And at this point, Harry was still Captain General of the Royal Marines and of course, senior working royal. But Harry said, well no, I prefer to go to the movies. So they went to this premiere to see Pharrell trying to do a curtsy. Well, not bad. And also meeting Elton John. By the way, what did Elton John whisper in Meghan's ear? I'm sure you can come up with a great answer to that. Of course, there was also David Furnish, Elton John's husband. Furnish is working now with Meghan on an animated series for Netflix called Pearl. Well, I guess the name of that series must be an acronym for Prince Evading a Royal Life. Beyoncé and Jay-Z were there too, since the Queen Bee did voice acting for one of the characters of the movie. But the real deal was Iger, who greets them and looks very friendly with the small talk and everything. But you can imagine that in a setting like this, there is noise, it's not that easy to be heard, it's very easy to be misinterpreted. So Harry says something and points at Meghan. And I just can't get over Iger's reaction. Look at his face in that split second. He looks stunned, like perplexed for what he just heard. Maybe there was so much noise at that moment that Harry said, "You know that Meghan does voice acting?" And Iger understood balls waxing. I mean, that must be the only explanation for his face and he covering his crown jewels. He even opens his mouth in disbelief. He must be wondering, is this some kind of British thing? That's when body language comes to the rescue, and a few words in, Iger finally understands. Oh, you mean voice acting? Yes, of course. That's when he relaxes and finally smiles broadly again. But jokes aside, let's go back to his first reaction. This is the face of someone who just got blindsided. And you know it precisely because there is no facial expression yet. Whatever Harry said took him by surprise. And your intuition could pick it up, but there's a very easy way to confirm if someone really understood what you just said. This is very helpful when you're speaking to someone and there is noise or a language barrier or any obstacle for being understood. You can confirm that the person actually got what you said if they blink. And this is very useful to avoid misunderstandings because sometimes people will nod at you to make you think that they understood what you said or got everything right or whatever. But maybe they are afraid of asking you to repeat what you said. In those cases, pay attention to their eyes and confirm that they blink at least once. It doesn't have to be a long blink or anything. You just have to confirm that their eyelids move. In fact, when Iger finally understands what is Harry really talking about, the first thing that happens is one short blink. That is all that you need to confirm that there was the brain click and the person just got your message. The other signal that a person has trouble trying to process what you just said is that they are going to remain emotionless. No emotional expression. And no, it doesn't have anything to do with Botox. This happens because their brain hasn't figured out yet which emotion will be the most appropriate for a facial feedback. As soon as they get what you're saying, they're going to react. And Iger's face is no different. He raises his eyebrows, a signal of understanding, of connecting, of goodwill. Now, as body language buddies, we should be extremely aware of context. I've told you a few times how important it is to be aware of what is going on around you. What are the circumstances? Because one of the most important skills that any person can develop is a sense of timing. And this is the most important question that we should ask. Was this the best moment to pitch Meghan's voice acting career? A career in voice acting that amounted to 0 appearances so far? Of course not. Harry had a grand total of 45 seconds talking to Bob Iger. And even if that's more than enough to ask for a gig on Ball's voice acting, it is not the place to do it. In fact, there is a second dimension to this, and this can be somewhat difficult to grasp for socially awkward people, and I know because I'm part of that club. Maybe Bob Iger did not have that reaction because he did not understand Harry's words. Most probably he reacted like that just for the fact that he couldn't have expected that someone, especially a senior royal, would make any kind of reference to anything related to a job at this moment. That is absolutely inappropriate. That's the true meaning of having your timing absolutely off. That is something that just screams being unprofessional. I guess that Harry thought something along the lines of, hey, we're the cool royals, all I have to do is say how amazing is my wife and that she's interested in working with you, and that's it. Now, I don't blame Harry for trying to bypass LinkedIn, or anyone for that matter, but it must have been really uncomfortable for Iger having all those cameras around. That is almost like a setup. It's like those jerks that make marriage proposals in public, in front of tens or even hundreds of people and expect to get away with it. There is a special place in hell for you. This is the problem when someone feels that they are entitled to do things their way. And that is the main problem with Harry. He used to have the royal privileges, but at the same time he did not have the responsibilities of his brother William. And we can guess that the Harkles did not mention to any communications or public relations advisor that they were planning to do this, because no one in their right mind would have said that this was a good idea. I will always be the first one to say that you have to think outside the box, that rules are meant to be broken, that you have no other option but to be the trailblazer of your own success. But that doesn't mean that you can afford to be unprofessional. Yes, sometimes you have to act on the spot. Yes, sometimes you have to improvise. But you only earn the right to improvise when you learn to play by the rules for 10,000 hours first. That's the basic principle of mastery. Because even if you're going to improvise, you want to be as effective as possible. And this bad taste, sloppy attempt at self-promotion is really far from that. Now, I'm sure that you want to know what was going through Beyoncé's mind when our forever glorious Duchess of Sussex was talking to her. And that is material for another video. If you'd like to watch that analysis, just show me some love with that like button. If you want to refine your observation skills, all you have to do is download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas, and it will always be a pleasure, my body language buddies. Much love and bliss.